All right, everybody, welcome to the Sarah Fraser Show. You all know who I am. And it's Monday in Sister Wives season. So, of course, we're doing a recap. We are recapping season 19, episode 8, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Or, as I like to say, the takedown of Kody Brown by Janelle Brown. What an episode! Dude, the moment you mention lawyer to that guy, like the face, the anger, the fear, the gaslighting that was going on last night. Ooh, Kody really last night, I actually, and you guys know this about me, I take heat for this. I don't dislike Kody and Robyn as much as a lot of people do. There's so many different TikTokers, YouTubers, people that really come for Kody. But I gotta say, this past season, I'm joining them. Between the not paying child support for Truly, which that lawsuit is playing out in real time and not on the show yet, and last night, his gaslighting of Janelle as she is trying to get money out of Coyote Pass and figure out what is going on. Oh, Kody, pal, you on my shit list. That is right. And I'm trying to curse less because I know a lot of parents tune into this pod. It's great escapism. And you want to do it in the car sometimes when your kids are in the background and you don't want a lot of cursing. So I understand. I'm trying to behave. We open last night's episode with Christine and David Woolley meeting with Christine Brown's family. David coming over for dinner, meeting Paedon Brown for the first time. Paedon was awkward. Paedon was kind of a laddie. And I'll let you fill in the word there that you think. Is he being protective of his mom? Yes. Do I overall love Paedon when he's like doing interviews, his social media? He's so great with Truly. Yes. But I kind of thought he was like a D last night. I did. So, but I also have some real gripes about Christine and David that I'm going to talk about in this episode. And I don't know if it is production or if it's truly who Christine and David are. Like, these are the questions that I want answered. Come on, Christine. Come on, David. Get over here on this pod. So David comes over for dinner and, without fail, we get a makeout. When Christine greets him at that door, she's like, hey, baby. And she undresses him with her eyes and she goes in for that kiss and we got to all sit there for 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. I'm vomiting a little 1,000. And then we move on. So immediately David walks in, you're walking and I give David credit. I actually thought David handled this scene like a boss. David walks in and Paedon's like, hey, Richard, already, I like, two dudes having a little sea fight here. You know what I mean? Okay. And the guy's name is David. He's like, and David's like, well, who is Richard? And Paedon goes, I don't know. I'm just calling you Richard, man. We're coming out hot, Paedon. We're coming out hot. And this is the thing that does drive me crazy about the commentary sometimes online about how Kody was such a crappy dad. Like, these kids are extremely loyal to Kody. I think from earlier seasons that we all watched, seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, Kody was a good father when these kids were little. They all say that, and clearly Paedon feels some loyalty. I felt in that moment. But all hail Saint David. Woo! Saint David! David handled that like a boss. Comes in just, okay, cool. He's sitting down. He's kind of getting to know the kids. He and Christine announce, even though they're not officially engaged, that their wedding date is set for October 22nd because the fall is the season in Moab and they secure their wedding venue, which they already have. And so they're definitely getting married. And then we find out that David asked Christine's dad for her hand in marriage. And he said yes. And it takes him, according to Paedon, 10 minutes to just, raise his 2 hips from the chair. The dude got up from the chair and made David supper, like made David a plate. And that was the ultimate, I'm handing you the torch. Here is Christine. And I like you, man. So, all right. Would they reveal, Christine and David reveal their second date they went to see Little Mermaid. Like, these two really are Disney adults. And by the way, if you follow them on social media, They go to Disney any chance that they get, and they're always wearing Disney t-shirts. Now, look, I used to crap all over Disney adults. These people are lame, you're losers. Then I went to Disney as an adult. I took my 9-year-old niece, and I'm cannot wait to take my son. And I actually could be a Disney adult. It was so amazing. Stayed at the Contemporary on the monorail at Disney World. Went 5-star when we went. We were like, if we're gonna do it, we're buying the I don't know what it was, the VIP passes. We're buying the picture package. We're buying the all-inclusive meals, which was basically you got breakfast, I don't know how many number of snacks, and then dinner. We went all freaking out in the Contemporary. It was unbelievable. Character breakfast, princess breakfast. It was so good. And I was like, I don't want to leave. And I can't say I'm a Disney person, but when you're there, it is truly magical. They rolled out the red carpet. I hope every child should have the chance. You don't have to go probably as crazy and 5-star as we went because it was damn expensive, but every child should go. It was magical. It was magical beyond belief. And to this day, my niece is headed to 19 and she still has all the pins because you bring your lanyard and you have all these pins, and then all the employees are obligated, which they don't care, of course, to trade pins with the kids. My niece at 9 years old loved it. It was the highlight, and she still has it to this day. So they're complete Disney adults. That was their second date, and they didn't kiss. Okay. So thank God for Tony, by the way. Tony Paedon, my guy, Tony. I also like Tony because Tony is like the producer of this show. The dude moves it along, and at least he asks the questions that we really want to get to. So they're all giving David, Christine's kids are giving David a hard time. Like, you didn't go in for a kiss. And they were at Little Mermaid, and she was trying to like get him to make out with her because, of course. And so he's like, no, I waited for the third date. I'm a gentleman. And Tony's like, the third date? Dude, that's when you got to like get down. That's when you guys are like going all in. You're having full on sex by the third date. And Christine was like, Basically, Christine was like, yeah, we did it on the third date. Okay. Now we've all got that image in our heads. Woo! I actually think once you're an adult, though, I say I agree with Tony. I think my husband and I did it, like tried to do it on the third date, but I think I was like having like serious period issues. And this is way too TMI. And then we totally did it on the fourth date, and I'm zero regrets. And don't you feel like the older you get, I do agree with Christine and David, the older you get, you're like, I know what I want. If I'm feeling it, we're getting down on the first night. Like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? And like, don't the older you get to some degree, you can separate things from emotion. You're like, all right, cool. If he calls, he calls. If he doesn't, well, I'm slutting it up in my later years, I mean, right? Anyhow, they got down on the third date. We know this. But then the kids are like, all right, do you guys fart in front of each other? Do you crap in front of each other? Remember how I said 5 minutes ago, I'm going to really tone it down for the parents. And then this podcast episode has gone totally down the tubes. So anyhow, they were like, no, we haven't done that yet. And mind you, you guys, they've only been dating when we're shooting these scenes 3 months, 4 months at the most. So they haven't done that, but David confesses that he'll be using the bathroom while texting Christine. And Paedon is like, and then, okay, so then we have this scene where this is where I do have an issue with Christine and David throughout all these scenes, and I'd be so curious what the truth is. So they're sitting down for dinner, and Paedon goes, all right, David, if I had any objections to you marrying my mom, would you even care? And he's like, no. Mm-mm. And Christine's like, nope, we don't care. This is where I am bothered by this couple because, there's been a lot of talk about Truly over the past week. A lot of people thought in episode 7, they were upset at the way Truly was acting. And, oh my God, the speculation and talk online about Truly, I thought was really hard because this kid, right now, she's only 14. And when this was filmed, she was 12. And to me, I watched those scenes last week with Truly breaking up Christine and David when they were holding hands. And I just felt like this is a kid that's having a really hard time where you're happy, but you're at that age where you're thinking like, is he going to take my mom away from me? And am I going to have to now share her with his kids and their priorities? And they haven't once. This is my problem with David and Christine with this unfolding of their relationship. They haven't once really sat and said, we went to the kids and we said, we know this is probably really hard for you. Like, and we went to Truly and we said, this is probably really hard for you, but we are really in love and we're committed to finding a way to make you guys feel like a priority, know that how much we love you, and we're going to find a way to resolve differences and be as much of a blended family as we possibly can. I don't know. To me, I'm irritated. I haven't heard that from these two. Now, they very well could have said it, and then production just has not maybe cut it, right? Cut it for time, cut it for the narrative. When you're on a reality show, no matter what you say, there is a narrative, right? And maybe we're kind of leaning into, hey, they're in love. They don't give an F. And so we're going to keep narrating. We're going to keep editing this season 19 for that. But I was disappointed again that they seem to disregard the kids. They seem to have this whole thing where they like invite the kids over, want to blend the families, but then they say to all the kids' faces, but we don't really care. We're going to do this for us. We're in love. We've been lonely too long. And so no matter what you say, we're getting married. It's like, ugh, okay, cool. That really works well. Ugh. Maybe it's triggering for me. I think I've said this especially for you guys that have followed me a long time, but my dad died when I was like 13, from 14 in there from stomach cancer. And my mom got remarried after he died within 16 months. So I can relate to the feeling of Truly, where you're becoming a teen and you want your mom to be happy, but you're also angry and jealous and grieving. And those feelings are not really acknowledged. So it basically comes back to me. I'm kind of sounding like Kody here. Is it about me? So Christine then announces that that Christine and David are going to be getting matching tattoos because that was her dream. She wanted a motorcycle dude with a leather jacket, a motorbike, and tatted up. So they're going to get matching tattoos. And she goes, yeah, is that like lame? Probably, but we're going to do it. And she does, I will say this, I do give Christine credit for reflecting on this. She does say, yeah, well, now that David and I are getting married so fast, I do regret the way that I kind of objected to Tony and Mykelti wanting to get married so quickly. Because if you guys all recall several seasons ago when Mykelti and Tony got married, Kody, they all had objections to how fast it was happening. And of course, they replay that scene where Kody, it's all about him. He's like, Maddie just got married. And then for me, it would be very difficult for you guys to get married like 2 months later. It'd be really hard on me. It's like, okay, yeah, of course, all about you. And then, of course, throughout the episode last night, production comes back to Kody. How do you feel about Christine dating? How do you feel about the rumor she's getting engaged? And he's like, yeah, good for her. And he says, and it's just one contradiction after another with Kody, because he says, of course, I'm happy for Christine. And now I'm in a really good place with Christine, but we'll never be able to hang out because of how bitter and how she did things, how she did me dirty when she exited. So you're good, but you can't hang out, but you're still bitter, but you're not. Code. Like, are you watching these scenes back, bud? And you can hop on Instagram and clarify. So anyway, then we kind of wrap up that initial scene where David meets the kids and we head to Kody turning 55. And we get this confessional from Kody in front of his phone. Again, I'm so grateful. Thank God this is post-COVID. So at least the sound is better. We're away from like shooting everything on their damn cell phones. So Kody is reflecting on being 55. And he says that the night before he turned 55, he and Robyn were up all night reflecting on his values. And he essentially, right? Like he has these moments where you're thinking, God, this could be a turning point and the show could really move forward if this happened. Because he says to Robyn, I feel so guilty about everything that has happened and my family that is not with me as you and I move forward, Robyn. And so I want to make the family whole again. And I'm really going to get everybody back together. And then we go to Robyn, and Robyn says, yeah, he's been a miserable MFer. And he lives in fear that I'm going to leave him all the time. And I'm like, let's explore more of that. Okay, what do you do, Robyn? Is it just his own paranoia because these three other wives have left? Or like, or do you get mad and threaten him? Like, give us the goods, Rob. Like, tell us what's really going on here, Robyn. So, and we reflect on this 55th birthday, and he believed that his 5 to 6 oldest children would be living across the street from him in Flagstaff, and he would be back to being this incredible father. And he says he's really going to recommit to this, and he wants to be a good dad and make the family whole again. Also, you kind of when I saw that scene. Now, again, this was filmed in 2023, but Robyn and Kody have closed on this $2.1 million home in Flagstaff that's enormous. 7 bedrooms, has like a guest house, huge garage with an apartment above it. You do kind of wonder, is that going to be season 21, 22, 23 of Sister Wives, of him trying to get some of the kids to move home? They certainly bought the house for it. Then we go to Christine and David going ring shopping. I was a little bored, but we talk, we get in the weeds of what she wants. She wants a diamond-shaped ring with different color metals, which I believe she has. I know she's posted multiple pictures on her Instagram of the ring. And we asked Meri what kind of ring she would want, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not down with the diamond-shaped ring." And I'm like, "Meri, I hear you, girl. So with you, sister." And she's like, "If anything, I'd want a square diamond." And then Janelle says, "Look, I'm very simple. Just if I got remarried, I'd want a gold ring. I want to get married in a pair of jeans." Janelle for the win. I'm with you, Jay. David wants, so David goes and looks for wedding rings, and he finds a black metal one. And then Christine is like, I want some black metal in mine, which is so funny to me because I don't know what you all ladies, or whatever your partner, whoever partners, anybody that's married listening to this, and you got a partner and you're married. My husband, we bought this kind of very similar ring to what David got. And now he wears a $20 Amazon rubber ring because he says it feels better. I don't even know if my husband could find his original band. And my engagement ring, the diamonds fell out, so I had to return it. So I just have bands. By 10th year, I'm going to get a new diamond, I guess. It's not really a high priority. I got to buy a house, buy a baby. I got some other expenses. And David said he's so ready to get married. He's ready to do it today. And then, I was kind of bored. They go back and forth about their rings, but they're super excited. Great. We obviously know they've got their rings. Then we get into it, though. Then we get to the good part of last night's episode. The excellent, fabulous television, intense television, Kody Brown. Ooh, gaslighting like you wouldn't believe. Janelle standing her ground. A woman finding her voice, honey. Janelle and Kody meet at Josephine's, a restaurant. And the prelude going into this is Janelle goes, I've spoken to a lawyer, and there are many lawyers ready to help me because I want to know what is going on with Coyote Pass. Now, at this point in 2023, they hadn't paid off the big note, which I think was like $283,000 or $400,000 they owed. And by the way, they all came up with that cash. Now, how are they coming up with this money? I did a whole podcast on this, but guys, they've signed a multi-year deal with TLC. And at this point, they are TLC's longest running, probably highest paid cast members, and they're all getting enormous checks because this show, the ratings are off the charts, and we're just not hitting the brakes on the show for a long way to come. So I'm sure they've got money even in 2023 because they've been filming, and now these shows are airing. So they sit down, they have this big balloon payment and they signed a terrible contract, she reveals. And, Kody goes into it and he goes, I don't really feel like doing her any favors. Yeah, we've got this note, but we've got plenty of time. Kind of don't question me. I know what I'm doing, Janelle. And you're fast forwarding to the end when you should be pumping the brakes. And let's talk about if we could still get back together, even though I haven't stepped foot in your house for 2 years. This delusional man. Okay. not even like a booty call in 2 years. And you think, and now we want to kick it back up? To me, this man just sees dollar signs. If I can drag her hiney back in, bring her back into my web, maybe I can delay giving her any money. That's to me what this felt like. So I actually wrote in my notes. Then he like seems to take a hit off his crack pipe. And then he says to her, could we get back together? And she's looking at him like, we don't even exist in the same universe. And she really tells him, no, he hasn't been to her house in 2 years. Janelle says that, he has this diversion pattern. And he basically says to her, look, why not? Like, let's try to like find some common ground here of how good we could be, because I'm great with Meri now. Are you? Like, where's production cutting to Meri going, we ain't good. We good because I haven't heard from you in 2 years. When Meri was on my show, she ain't good with him. She and Jen, they like edited themselves, but they had a lot to say. They wanted to say more, in fact. And then he has the audacity, Kody does, to say, I'll never say anything negative about Meri again because she's just a gem. I mean, he doesn't say gem, but he basically says, I can't say anything bad about Meri. Well, no kidding, because you dragged her through the mud the last 2 seasons, putting her in a barn dominium, ignoring her, saying, there's only one woman in his life that's happy, doesn't even acknowledge her. Yeah. Okay. So Kody would says that then he reflects to us and he goes, Janelle and I could work, but I'd have to give up all my power. I'd have to give up all my power to Janelle, and I'm not going to do that. It's like, to me, Janelle is like the least person of all the women that would require Kody to give up any power. I think a phone call and you'd win her back because she's sitting there teetering. I love this scene because I think it's so indicative of what we all go through in relationships where there's just that one person, and I'm sure this has happened to everybody, that has a hold on you, even though they're not good for you, they ignore you, they don't love you. But there's something about them that if they just did one or two things, you'd be right back in. I love that Janelle was vulnerable to share that with us. So he's on this stupid power trip. I had to laugh. And then she goes, I got to be honest with you. You're self-absorbed. And the way he just looks at her and then he starts eating. You guys, I roll. She goes, by the way, you're like super self-absorbed. And he's like, he looks at her like she has 3 heads and then starts eating his shrimp or whatever he's noshing on. And then we go to Robyn. And this is how, is anybody else genuinely conflicted? No, yes, I have followed Robyn for many seasons, but there's still something I feel as though I'm like, is Robyn the master manipulator behind the scenes? Or is Kody really the one running the show? And more than anything, Robyn just gives in to everything that he wants because she's as in love with him as he is her. I don't know. But Robyn jumps in and she says, look, anytime Kody makes a decision with these women, I'm the one that gets blamed. So if he doesn't want to give them property, land, communicate with them, I'm the one that it's like, I must be casting an evil spell on him. I must be, telling him what to do. And it's just not true. I'm not doing that. And then we come back, we go back and forth between the confessionals and then Janelle and Kody at this intense lunch. And Janelle is like, Cody's like, I want you and Robyn and all of us to get together. And she's looking at him like, I don't have anything in common with Robyn, by the way. Like, I ain't got nothing. And then she shares this story of when Kody and Robyn purchased the Flagstaff home, which, by the way, was shady because Kody and Robyn's names are on the deed, but not the other women. Janelle went to Robyn woman to woman and said, please, Robyn, don't do anything to financially get us in over our heads. Please buy a cheaper home. So, we all have some money. What do? They go and buy this $800,000 plus home. And Robyn goes to Kody and says, Janelle has some objections about this house. Now, I loved this because to me, this is the epitome of why plural marriage don't work. Like you're going to have four women. Most women, sorry, like it is a bit of a stereotype. We all like to gossip a little bit. I do. And actually, so I have to say, so many men in my life, when I worked at Fox 5 DC, the male anchors love to gossip the most. So people in general like to talk, right? They just do. So that's why it's like it's hard enough to keep one monogamous relationship together, let alone you got four ass wives. But Robyn goes to Kody. And here's the thing. Janelle should have felt comfortable enough in that marriage, and Kody should have made those wives feel comfortable enough that she could have gone to him and said, don't do this. Anyhow, so I got a little bit of both there. Like for Robyn, maybe she went to Kody. She says, I went to Kody to share it with him that we shouldn't spend all this money. Janelle has real concerns. And Janelle takes that as a major betrayal. And that's when they kind of get into it, Janelle and Kody. And Janelle drops the sacred cow line. She goes, look, I can't talk to you because Robyn's some sort of sacred cow for you. Oh, okay. Okay. Woo, honey. I wonder how Robyn felt when she heard that she was being compared to a cow. Like, get a live stream cam on them, okay? So we can see what Robyn's reaction was when she's referred to as a cow. And by the way, he doesn't even say to Janelle, okay, the cow reference a little offensive. He just rolls with it. Like, yeah, she's my cow. Okay, it gets into, I loved it. I loved that scene. And then we go to Meri's birthday. And her birthday gift is revealing the makeover of the carriage house. And damn, it's cute. I want to go and buy those clothes and work out at Meri's gym. I want her to put a stripper pole too upstairs because she talks about that. My girl Jen is back on the scene and they did a whole beautiful makeover. The reveal is gorgeous. There's a memory bear in the studio where Meri sells her clothes. And of course, a lot of people up in arms about this because Meri sells LuLaRoe, which is an MLM. But look, by the way, MLMs are not illegal. And what happened all of a sudden? Okay, can someone answer this for me? Because I'm going to say 8 years ago, a decade ago. Remember how the joke was everyone from high school that you hadn't spoken to in a decade reached out to you because they were selling lip scents and LuLaRoe and all this stuff. What happened? Because I don't hear from my friends anymore. Well, my old high school friends that were doing, and I was on the radio. So I had like public at the time when MLMs were huge. I had like a public email address out. Honeys, I would say 10 emails a day. We're like, hey, Sarah, I'm a huge fan of the show. By the way, I sell lip scents. Would you want to do it? And we could host a party? No, I don't. I get up at 3 a.m. Do you want to be here at 4? We could host that. Anyhow, the studio looks awesome. Meri reveals she's been taking care of her finances like a boss for years because of financial issues that the family had prior. And Kody telling them no when they wanted to purchase certain, homes and property and land. And Meri's like, I'm going out and selling my own clothes. I'm making my own money. And basically from that day forward, which was years prior to obviously today, Meri was making her own money. And then they celebrate Meri's birthday eating nothing but bundt cakes. What a great shout out to nothing but bundt. I like a nothing but bundt cake. We pop back to Josephine's restaurant to wrap up this episode. And has anyone been there, by the way? Looks cute. In Flagstaff. Like, I want to go to Josephine's, Fat Olives. So Janelle gets right into it. And she is like calling him on his shit. She's like, I've lawyered up. So what you gonna do, boo? And then he goes, Janelle, she's got a card with victim on it. She loves to play it. Oh, Kody's got those lines. But the gaslighting in this scene to me was like off the charts. And Janelle, she even says, I heard Meri got a release from the church. I'm ready to get a release. Give my ass a release. I'm going to get one. I don't think she's ever gotten one. I feel like on those ET interviews that she and Christine have done, I feel like they've asked her and she's never gotten the release. And, Kody, it's so interesting to me. Kody reminds me of a person in your life. Have you ever had this, whether it's a car dealership or relationship, where the person will just keep asking you for something and keep at you. Their tactic is just to wear you down. He totally feels like that for me. Then, what an interesting reveal. What an interesting reveal. And I think to me, this speaks volumes of why Kody and Robyn are going to stay in Flagstaff and just bought this $2.1 million home. But Kody says if Janelle builds on Coyote Pass, because they're still at Josephine's and she's talking about maybe she would, but she doesn't really want that because she knows she'll be calling Kody every day and they're not going to get back together. There's no hope of it. Kody says if she does that, we'd leave the area. Okay. Wasn't the point of Coyote Pass? Robyn was going to be on that damn porch with her sister wives. How's she going to do that if you want to pick up and move states? If one of them sister wives builds on the property. Woo! He is just so full of crap. So he says, if she stays there, we're out. And why don't you just tell her that? And then they get into the kids and, Kody's like, why didn't Maddie tell me that she's pregnant? This is all about jealousy and rumors and gossip that broke me up from my children. And Janelle's like, I think it's a lot deeper than that. And I'm not getting in the middle of it. You're a man. You know what to do. I love this scene. Janelle stands her ground. Now, the ending of this episode, she doesn't really get much out of it, but she does at least stand her ground. And, he then, of course, says he's been the hero for these kids for 25 years and now everything has been blown up. And at the end of this episode, Janelle goes, I've lawyered up. I've called the lawyer. And the look on his face, he was like, what? Janelle, why'd you go and do that, girl? And it's like, bitch, because you weren't going to give me any money. I love her for doing this. Like, I do think people tune into this and have learned from Christine and Janelle. And I'm sure Meri is very smart. I'm sure Meri's lawyered up as well. Like they're going to get their money from this, I believe, from the sale of this Flagstaff home whenever they can list it again. Because of course we know Christine and Kody now have a court date in December. So they're going to get this custody thing resolved. That home is going to go back on the market for sale. Boom. And then I think all these women are going to get their money. And I don't know what they're doing with Coyote Pass, to be honest. Unless Kody and Robyn are going to buy them out and then give it to their kids. Anyhow, excellent episode. If you're wondering, I think the timeline of this show is all over the place. But if you're wondering like when some of these scenes may have been filmed, as a reminder, Meri's birthday is January 16th. So this was probably filmed around 2023 in January, maybe. There's snow on the ground. Well, I'm thinking-ish. Then the preview for next week is pretty good because it's going to be the face-off of David, Woolley, and Kody Brown and Robyn. They are all going to meet face-to-face at a family event. And we are going to see the team up of Janelle and Meri, which has been much anticipated over Coyote Pass. So hopefully they're talking to the same lawyer. They're discussing. Oh, okay. Getting into it. We shall see. So there's a little recap. There's a lot of news to get to. I'm also going to be doing a review this week of Maddie Brown's brand new podcast, The Authentic Society. I've been podcasting for 8 years, so I tuned in to episode number 1, and I have some thoughts. I'm going to share all that. Look for new podcast episodes every single day here on the Sarah Fraser Show. Excuse me. You can also join our Reddit, reddit.com/r/The Sarah Fraser Show. Lots of info going up there. It's a big week, by the way, because Amy Slayton from Thousand Pound Sisters is also set to make a court appearance. She is supposed to be in court for that whole camel bite, weed possession, mushroom possession. Oh, yeah, and child endangerment. Whoop. The kids had to stay with Tammy Slayton while she got bit by a camel at a safari park in Tennessee. Okay, gonna be a week. I'll be on it. All right, you guys. Bye, everybody.